The anger, the silence, the denials, it's all back on the table. Just when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle seemed desperate to rewrite their public image yet again, journalist Dan Wootton has reopened one of the most damaging chapters of their royal fallout. The bullying allegations that the Sussexes have spent years trying to dismiss as lies, smears, and palace sabotage. And this time, the reaction hasn't been calm, measured, or dignified. Reports of Harry's fury, online meltdowns among Sussex supporters, and renewed scrutiny of Meghan's behavior behind palace walls have reignited a question the couple never truly answered. Why do these allegations keep resurfacing? And why has no one been able to conclusively disprove them? For many royal watchers, this isn't about gossip anymore. It's about patterns, credibility, and accountability. And for critics, it's yet another moment where Diana's legacy is being invoked to shield behavior that stands in direct contrast to everything she represented. Let's get one thing straight right away, because this is where people love to lie by omission. Dan Wootton did not invent the bullying allegations against Meghan Markle. He didn't start them, and he didn't pull them out of thin air for clicks. What he did was something far more dangerous to the Sussex brand. He reminded the public of documented reporting that already existed, reporting that the palace, the media, and even Meghan herself acknowledged at different points. Back in 2021, the Times of London reported that multiple palace aides had lodged formal complaints about Meghan's conduct while she was a working royal. This wasn't anonymous Twitter chatter. This involved emails, HR procedures, and internal reviews within Buckingham Palace. The palace itself confirmed an investigation had been launched, not because of tabloids, but because staff complaints triggered it. That fact alone destroys the "this was all made-up" narrative. Dan Wootton's recent commentary didn't accuse Meghan of new crimes. He revisited the existence of staff complaints, the timing of their exposure days before Oprah, the refusal to release the investigation findings, and the aggressive attempts to reframe Meghan solely as a victim. If these claims were false, the Sussexes could have ended this story years ago by pushing for transparency. Instead, the findings were sealed. Quietly. Permanently. That silence is why this story refuses to die. Here's where Prince Harry comes in, and why his reported anger matters. Harry's public persona is built around one thing: moral certainty. He speaks as if there is always a villain and always a victim, and conveniently, he and Meghan are always on the righteous side. But when Dan Wootton resurfaced the bullying issue, it shattered that framing. Because this time, Harry couldn't just scream racism, smear campaign, or tabloid abuse and move on. Why? Because the allegations predate Megxit. They involve staff across different departments. They were serious enough to trigger HR action. And they contradict Harry's own speeches about kindness, mental health, and workplace safety. Reports of Harry being furious aren't surprising. This isn't anger born from injustice. It's frustration from losing narrative control. Every time the Sussexes try to rebrand Netflix, podcasts, books, philanthropy, this story comes back like a ghost they can't exorcise. And the public is starting to notice something uncomfortable. Harry fights harder to silence critics than to demand transparency. Now let's talk about Meghan Markle herself, not as a caricature, not as a saint, but as a public figure who demands to be believed without scrutiny. Meghan has repeatedly portrayed herself as bullied, silenced, and mistreated by an institution. And yes, criticism crossed lines at times. But here's the question no one in mainstream media ever presses her on. Why did multiple staff members, across roles and timelines, report similar experiences? Not one disgruntled aide. Not one misunderstanding. Multiple complaints. Former palace staff have spoken carefully, anonymously, but consistently about being reduced to tears, being spoken to harshly, feeling intimidated, feeling unsupported when raising concerns. This doesn't mean Meghan is guilty of everything alleged, but it absolutely means the story isn't imaginary. What angers critics is Meghan's refusal to acknowledge even the possibility that her management style may have been harmful. There's no "I could have done better." No accountability. Just total denial paired with emotional manipulation. That's not empowerment. That's avoidance. This is where the Diana comparison becomes not just tired, but offensive to many. Princess Diana was flawed, emotional, and human, but one thing former staff consistently said about her was that she treated people kindly. She learned names. She apologized. She made space for others. Meghan's supporters love invoking Diana to shield criticism, but the irony is brutal. Diana faced cruelty. She wasn't accused of inflicting it. Every time Harry invokes his mother to shut down debate, it backfires. Because it forces comparisons Meghan cannot win. Diana didn't need HR investigations. Diana didn't silence staff. Diana didn't brand herself as flawless, while others paid the price. If Diana were alive today, the question wouldn't be whether she'd defend Meghan. The question would be whether she'd urge humility, something the Sussex brand seems allergic to.